Hello, and welcome. There are times I'll often ramble on and tell stories. It comes quite naturally to me for words to flow in a way that's easy to listen to. My rambles, of course, can lead to exciting journeys and beautiful stories. In fact, there have been many times I've often talked about certain things, and some have found that they've naturally been able to drift off. In fact, there have been times I've often talked about certain things, and some have found that they've been naturally able to drift to a far more calming state. Something you're quite aware of already, I'm sure. But what's funny to me is they're never intentional. It just comes naturally. Certain people find they can just unwind and relax to the flow of my words with little effort, which I'm sure you don't mind. I know there's a part of you that enjoys listening to me, even with all the strange stories I tell. But I'm sure it makes things interesting, with certain experiences from different perspectives that can lead to an alteration in your perception. You may find yourself viewing the world in a different way as a result, or it may just be an opportunity to unwind and pass the time for a little while. I find my friends are often happy to listen to some of the various adventures I've been on, some of the discoveries that could be made along the way. Other times it's nice just to tell silly stories and laugh. It brings a great deal of comfort when I'm able to spend time with my close friends, just talking about random nonsense as though nothing really matters. Because in that moment nothing really does. And I use the same idea when I'm doing sessions. The idea that my words can bring comfort, or a smile, or a simple thought or feeling that may have once been forgotten. Sometimes all it takes is allowing yourself to remember. If you can really immerse yourself in a story, suddenly it can feel so very real. And when I do hypnosis, I know I rely on stories. I like to close my eyes and imagine every experience to its finest detail. And I find the more I observe and listen and think about all the things in the story, suddenly it feels almost as though I am in the center of that experience. I know there's one tale I'll never forget. A trip roaming through nature. Those are always my favorites, where I can find that I might be able to listen to the details and fill in the blanks myself. It was a colder day on the mountain, so you'd need to wear a coat to make sure the cool breeze across your skin doesn't feel too cold. Adjusting the temperature in just the right way that would feel like such a wonderfully soothing breeze. But what color would the coat be? Would you wear jeans or joggers? Or maybe a different type of pants? Would you wear boots? Or would you wear sneakers? I like to fill in the details that may not be placed, so I can personalize the finer details of the story. And it just becomes such a wonderful experience, hearing those details, listening to the smile and joy in the memories, walking through the mountain with a group, or maybe alone. I'm told it's better with friends, so that may be the case for you. With friends, listening to the sounds of the mountain, or maybe on your own, the quiet sounds of music echoing as you explore all the details of your surroundings. It may take a few days, this journey, but the first day is always exciting. Packing, making sure you have all the equipment you need, making sure everyone's together, ensuring you have your map ready to go, so you know how to get to the top of the mountain, of course. I remember the story well. It was short and sweet. I could say it felt longer than it was, but it wasn't quite filled with all the details. It was a hike that went on for a few days. Each day was simple enough. The group walked to a certain point. Then, when the sun would start to set, they would unwind for the night, light a fire, have something to eat, and then get some rest. But the power of someone's mind, the power I know my own mind has, can do so much more. It can add so many details. Walking the mountain on the first day, I could hear the steps on the gravel footpath as each individual stone would crunch together with every step. And despite the fact it was in a group, it was all still very rhythmic. A faint pattern in the background. Small, quiet, yet worth noticing. Because it was a group in the story. I would find it very unlikely they would be walking in silence. So while I would hear every footstep in that calm and rhythmic pattern, I was able to also hear the murmurs of faint conversations, some clearer than others, even as I would talk to another individual next to me. I know as well, even though you might not feel or hear a breeze, you can still see the faintest movement in the leaves if you pay just enough attention. All the little details that just make it feel so wonderfully real. I could see silhouettes of birds in the sky, hear the faint sounds of them in the distance. All in a matter of minutes, I was right there, filling out every little detail, writing out all the blanks in the story, and making it such a wonderful experience. And once the time came, they started packing down for the night, lighting the fire, the colors of the leaves and twigs that had been collected earlier in the day, the various shades of yellows and browns. I could feel the slightly rough texture in my hands. I could hear the twigs cracking as they were all placed in a pile. It didn't take much to light the fire. The flame was small at first, but it slowly started to grow. I decided to observe all the different colors of the flame, from the dark orange and yellows on the outside, to the faint blue in the center. I could hear the cracks. I could see the flame delicately moving and dancing as everyone grouped together to talk about the adventures of the day. 3 different things. 3 new opportunities. 3 different questions. And it was like that every single night and every day. Yet each day had new stories to tell, new adventures, new conversations, new memories. Even listening to all of those wonderful moments, walking through each day felt like a whole new experience. I'd listen to the gravel, talk among the others, watch the leaves quietly dance in the wind, subtle, yet peaceful. I'd be able to keep an ear out for the animals as well, see the silhouettes of birds flying past, and watch the bugs crawl on the ground underneath my feet, all until the sun would start to set, and the familiar rough texture of leaves would find its way into my hands once again. I'd hear the twigs break and crack as the fire was lit. I was able to watch the flames grow slowly, changing to all of its wonderful colors. And then once again, we would find ourselves answering those same 3 questions to get ready for an even better day. And on the 3rd day, it would all be the same things, with all those wonderful memories and stories and adventures. By the time the day ended, we were at the top of the mountain. The sun would start to set, and it was such a beautiful view. The sky was clear and filled with stars. The view on the horizon was indescribably beautiful. To hear the smile and joy in revisiting those memories, as if I was there, was so wonderful. I found myself entering a different state of being. I was content and happy. I felt joy and peace. I wonder if you are the same. Hypnosis can be its wonderfully traditional patterns. However, I don't always feel it's needed. Do you notice a difference? I'm sure you'd note the same feelings. There was no intention for a trance to happen, yet in all the most wonderful ways, it just did. It came naturally, without intent, without goals, just by simply listening and finding yourself in a state of being, just letting those experiences happen without effort. It just comes naturally. The wonderful accidental trance, and with just as little effort, just as easily, you wake. Have a good day, friends.